Hey, everybody, welcome to the Underground Gospel Show. We're doing stories of the flood, part two, and this is episode number 68. Welcome here. This is a safe place, a place we don't have to worry about. Let me see, is my mic on? Let's see. Yeah, okay, so that's working. Let me just check this little thing right here. I just have to make sure because, I did a show one time where the mic wasn't on and I wasn't sure what was going on and it wasn't happening, but it's working now, so everything's good and to go. I do have to apologize for one thing. And I told you this in part one, I put new strings on the guitar and I'm going at a different gauge. And the muscle memory isn't there yet. It's the first hour actually that I've had these strings, and yeah, it's not. It's a little lighter gauge, and you think I'd be able to play it better. I'm used to a very light gauge. I've played a very light gauge my entire life, but now, in fact, I played banjo string on the upper strings for the first couple of years I played. But for the past 2 years, I've been doing kind of a light, not an extra light, but a light set. So this is an extra light set, and it's a little different. It's definitely a little different. So anyway, I'm going to do the best I can. Tonight's episode, since we're talking about a flood, is Genesis 9:12 through 16. And that is where God basically promises that he's not going to destroy the world again because he did destroy the world one time before because of the sin that was in it. But what he did was he came out with a new plan A, and the new plan A was actually to send a Messiah, and the Messiah was going to um, come, as I said on last night's episode, was John 3:17, that God didn't come to judge the world, he came to redeem the world. And so he came to bring it back to him. And so I mean, he loves us so much. Anyway, but I was telling stories about the flood. And so I told a couple of stories yesterday. And so I have some stories today to tell you. Now, yesterday, if you remember, I told you about the fact that before the flood came, I was doing a wedding. Lightning had struck a power uh, center behind the church and had taken out power for 10 square miles. 10 miles on either side, so 20-mile ring around the church. No power, no cell phone. We were able to get out of that. Then I went to work the next day, and actually, that's when Opryland flooded. I was one of the last three people out of Opryland Hotel. As far as I know, I might have been the last one out of the property. I don't think there was anybody left on the property when I left. I don't remember seeing any cars. There definitely wasn't any cars on the road. And my car had been flooded. It had gone, the water had gone over the engine. I had pushed it out. We had finished work and got everybody out of the building, got everything done. I came back. Car would not start. Finally, I'm like, Jesus, seriously, since the beginning of the earth, you planned for me to die at Opryland Hotel. Are you really? And that's when my car started because he didn't plan for me to die, or if he did, he had to change of heart. Anyway, he's like, I think we have a new plan A for Art. Anyway, so I wouldn't be here today if I had died in 2010 at Opryland Hotel. So I went home, and the next day, we were, it was just horrible because you just saw stories of the flood and stories of buildings going down going down creeks. It wasn't even the river; it was freaking creeks that had outbuildings and portable buildings just floating down I-24, and all the cars that were stuck, and all the people that were stuck, and all of downtown was flooded, and the Schermerhorn where I worked, and a lot of the places that I worked on Lower Broadway, they were all flooded and gone, and um, Bridgestone and Upperland Hotel, and I mean, just everything just flooded. It's like, oh, this is gonna be a mess. Well, I was very strong in my church, as I have been. I mean, if you hear about me talking about Jesus all the time, it's because I'm kind of strong in the church. And so the church I was going to at the time, I don't know if it was an email or a phone call or me calling them saying, "Hey, what can I do?" Anyway, we met at the church over in, I think it was, I don't think it was the main campus. I think we met at the Bellevue campus. Um, and my car would run, but it was having serious, serious issues. And I don't even know if I got over there by my car, to tell you the truth. I don't know how I did. I think what I did, I remember it was sunny, so I took my T tops off to let it dry because everything, the seats were wet. It wasn't leather, it was cloth seats, and everything was wet. Everything was, if you smell things after they've been in water for a long time. So I took my T tops off, so everything, because that morning I remember I got in and it was like a sauna inside my car. So I took the T tops off so everything could start drying. That's what happened. And then I went over to the church, and a group of us were sitting there, and we were talking, and somebody said that they had found a dog. And so me and this guy, Matt was a guitar player at church, and so he had a pickup truck. And I'm like, dude, let's go looking for dogs. So we drove all up and down the Bellevue area and around, the Nashville flooded area in North Nashville looking for dogs. And we found a bunch. I think we made, I want to say like five, or it might have been as many as eight trips. And we would just find these animals, and they're just like, come on, baby, come on. And I mean, we're talking pit bulls and cats and, Dobermans and, St. Bernards and, what are those little foo like the Yorkies and the Shih Tzus. And I mean, there were every breed and denomination of dog and cat you can even imagine, and threw them all in the back of the truck. And I sat in the back with them. It's like, and they all just wanted to sit on me. They're just like, we've been swimming for 3 days and we haven't had food, and I don't know who you are, but thank you. And so we took them all over to the Humane Society, which is down there on Charlotte Pike, and dropped them off. And they were just going to find the owners and keep them until they could find the owners. And we probably got, if you I would say 60 to 80 dogs and cats. I mean, and they were just like, I mean, we're talking dogs that would have ripped our heads off a week before if we had gotten anywhere near their property or anywhere near them, or if any other dog had been near them. But at this point, they were just like, no, we're just going to lay here with fill in the blank. We don't know what you are or who you are. We're not going to sniff you. I'm just so glad not to be in water and swimming right now. And I don't know what's going on, and help me. And it was just it was so good and so gratifying to, pick up dogs. And that's what we did. We spent the first day driving around picking up dogs. And I think later on that afternoon, um, somebody else had come to the church and said that somebody's house, they were trying to save stuff in it, and that it had been flooded and it was smelling really bad because of mildew. And so I said, well, let's take some Perel and some water and some spray bottles, and let's just spray everything down with Perel and just see if we can kill the mold. And so that's what we did later on for that day. And so the next couple of days, all we did was we helped people. I mean, you had, I guess you had people looting. You had, it wasn't, it was so bad. I guess Waverly right now, they're afraid of people looting. Okay. They're afraid of people coming in and stealing stuff. And I don't know what they expect to find in a flood that is going to be valuable enough to steal. I'll get into some of those stories in just a minute, because there were things. I mean, when we got into helping people in their homes, I remember looking and seeing silverware and goldware and stuff in bedrooms and stuff like that. But we were not there to steal. We were there to help and to help whenever we can. And so that's what we did. So the first day we picked up dogs, which kind of brings me into today's first song. And it's really funny. I'm under 10 minutes and I'm going to do a song. I usually don't do a song for the first 15 or 20 minutes. Oh, did I tell you that this was a safe place and that you can go to our website? Oh, and if you like what you hear so far, you can hit the subscribe button and be notified about all the shows that we're doing. But you don't have to really worry about that, because we're doing shows every Friday and Saturday night at 8 o'clock. And this will be a regular thing. Um, and if it isn't, then you'll know why, because we'll have what we call shows in the can, and we can record some shows and then put them up like live streams at the time. So that might happen in the future. I don't know. Needless to say, welcome. So I'm going to do a song now that's actually about animals. It's a Christian song. It was written by a guy by the name of Francis, who is from the town called Assisi, and he used to preach to dogs and cats and birds and all kinds of animals around his little Italian town and his province. And the people from his province, thought he was a little weird trying to save the souls of animals that don't have souls. Yeah. So anyway, I think personally he might have been practicing how to, share the gospel of Jesus Christ. And let's face it, if a bird's going to sit there and listen to you, you might as well preach. And so, needless to say, they went to the Pope, and the Pope was like, "Hey, Francis, I got a great job for you." And he's like, "Yeah, sure. What do you want?" He goes, "Well, I want you to go over to the Celtic Islands, and I want you to share the gospel over there." And it's like, okay, what's the catch? He's like, well, we sent some people and they kind of get killed. So that might happen to you. But needless to say, if you're up for it, and Francis is like, sure, let's go. So he went over there and he wrote the Pope back about a year later. And he said, hey, great news. I'm not dead yet, but they don't like our Gregorian chants very much. Can I write some stuff in more their speed? And so Pope Gregory at the time, he wrote back, and I think it was Pope Gregory, he wrote back and said, sure, just write something in their style. So Francis wrote a bunch of songs in his style. One of them is still sung in churches today. Now he wrote this in the about the year 870. So this is about a 1200-year-old song, and I've updated it a little bit too. But this is a song called All Creatures of Our God and King. I hope you enjoy it. Let me get a picture up here so that I can see that you can see my playing hand. So you take that. I'm actually playing this song and not just, there's a lot of people who record stuff and then pretend that they're playing to it on YouTube. Yeah, I'm going to not do that. In fact, I said last episode that you might, if I wasn't the Christian I am now, I might even have a drinking game of, okay, every time Art makes a mistake, let's do a shot. But, now that I'm a Christian, it might be a good time to do sacraments and remember what Jesus has done for us. So do a shot of wine. Anyway, this is called All Creatures of Our God and King. Yeah, that was All Creatures of Our God and King, written by Saint Francis of Assisi. Um, back in oh my gosh, back in 820. I'm going to do a song that I've never, ever, ever, ever done on the Underground Gospel Show. And this song was written in 1855 by Joseph Scriven, and then in 1886, about 10 years later, it was given music to it. Actually, the lyrics were written 10 years before the music was. And this is a song called What a Friend We Have in Jesus. And the reason why it's because, Matt and I, like I said, we went on and we picked up these dogs. And they say that dogs and, are man's best friend. And they said that, cats and dogs aren't supposed to get along. Trust me, after swimming for 2 days and being without homes, Oh, they got along. They were just like, I am so glad to have somebody who cares about me. I don't know if you've ever gotten to that part that I'm just glad that somebody cares about me. And they knew that we weren't their tribe, we weren't their pack, we weren't their home, but we were out there to help. And I guess they just sensed the fact that we were there for them. And I just hope that you sense, and I'm tearing up right now, but I hope that you sense that Jesus is here for you. And this is called "What a Friend We Have in Jesus." I haven't played this song before, and I'm playing with new strings. And yeah, this is going to be interesting. So have your sacraments ready. Okay. Anyway, here we go. Try that again. We're just gonna end it right there. Yep. So once again, this would be the part where I'm supposed to run a commercial, but haven't made the commercial yet. Oh darn it! You know what I should have done, and I don't have them with me. I have about 6 or 7 T-shirts. You can find the merchandise. It's under the garments section. If you go to, and I wonder if I have that even the right thing, streaming to guitarforjesusmusician.com. So I don't have the right thing streaming. So let me stream this here. You can go to night-music.com, and then you can find all the information about our website, about places that we're playing, about the live streaming shows, about the. I'm booked up for the remainder of the year right now with a couple private events, and then doing this for the rest of the year. So there will be no more events this year as far as going to go see, unless I do have an opening for this Gallatin Festival that I'm waiting to hear back on, but I don't think they're going to have it because COVID's spiking again. And so I really don't think they're going to do the show. Um, Needless to say, if they don't do the show, I will still be doing the show every Friday or Saturday night. And you can find out about those at night-music.com. Okay, and they have garments, and they all say Jesus on them, but they say Jesus in a bunch of different languages. So if you're around a lot of Korean people, if you're around a lot of Chinese people, if you're around a lot of Russian people, if you're around a lot of French people or Spanish people, you can actually wear a T-shirt that says Jesus and promote the name of Jesus in front of people who are here in the United States. Um, in fact, right now, also, and I might tell a little story about this. The other day, I had a guy come up to me at work, and he's from Afghanistan. And we were talking. I'm like, "Is your family okay?" He's like, "I am so worried." He goes, "They're, you know, I'm just so worried that they're just going to be killed." And I'm like, but aren't they Muslim? He goes, yeah, but that doesn't matter because the Taliban, he goes, the Taliban aren't Muslim. The Taliban are just evil. He goes, they're not Muslim. Muslims don't do what the Taliban do. He goes, that would be like MS-13 being Catholic. Okay, now everybody around them is Catholic, and but to say that a Catholic is kind of like an MS-13 person is completely the same thing as saying that Taliban is like Muslim. Okay, they're the same thing. They're just horrible people. They're going to kill every person who's not Taliban. It's just very simple. They don't, yeah, are you Taliban or are you not? And if you're not, you die. It's just that's what they do. And I saw a press release where they were talking about pulling the people out, and our commander in chief said, "There's not a chance. We have 400,000 troops that have been trained, and we've left all this weaponry, and there's not a chance at all. The Afghani military has to do their job. They have to step up." And I think that lasted for like 10 minutes. And the Taliban is just like, yeah. And the thing is, these guys aren't trained, but they're thugs. You don't understand. Oh man, they're just mean, evil, terrible people. So not going to get on because we're talking about floods. Getting back on the flood subject, Genesis 9, 12 through 16. And getting back on the flood thing, we had worked with the church for the next 2 or 3 days. They put me on a team, and they would bring as volunteers would come, and they made me a team leader. I don't know why, but they would put me on, and we would be given to a house or sometimes a block, and we would find out if everybody's okay, if they need anything, if we can help, and we're just coming from our church. This is a way to help the community. We weren't checking to make sure that you were, our denomination, because we're all just people, children of God, and so we're just helping each other. And so they gave me one house, and they said, "Art, we're going to give you some special ones because of who you are, and we have a team of people that are going to help you, but you're the guy in charge." And the first house they dropped us at, this woman, God bless her, she a middle-aged, mid-30s, and she the Friday before the rains came, her husband and her 3 kids had gone on a camping trip. And so they had taken off, they had all packed up, and they had taken off, and they left, right around sundown. And about 8 o'clock that night, she got a phone call from a woman who said that her husband, who had been working in Atlanta, basically had been having an affair with this woman for the past few months, and that he has taken the kids and they've moved into Atlanta to a house in Atlanta, and that he was going to be filing for a divorce. Now, I can't tell you what I feel about a man that wouldn't talk to his wife about this, but to have another woman call and tell this to his wife, I don't even know what to make about this. Okay. Anyway, so she was devastated. And the next day, the rains came. And the next day, the floods came. And then 3 days after the floods, here we are knocking on the door to this woman. And if you can imagine this scene, the neighborhood's destroyed. I mean, there's literally stuff hanging in trees. I mean, the floods water had gotten so high. It was just ridiculous. She got out with her life. And she opened up the door, and we came into her house, and it was just covered with mud. If you've ever seen it leaves mud everywhere. These floods leave mud everywhere. And she had cleaned out a little area where she was sitting, and she had a pile of um, picture books, photograph albums, and she was going through page by page with this filthy washcloth, and she was just wiping the mud off the pictures of a family that she no longer had. And just tears streaming down her face as she's bringing back all these memories of birthdays and Christmases and family outings. And I mean, because the guy had said, "You can keep the house, but I'm taking everything else." And now the house was destroyed. Um and it was just horrible. It was just horrible. So I went to one of the team people, and remember, this was 11 years ago. So I gave him $20, and I said, "Here, run down to Pizza Hut, get yourself a large pizza, get your pitcher of beer, and just sit there and just let her talk. Just let her talk, and there's going to be a lot of tears." I said, "Are you okay with this?" She goes, "Yeah, I can handle it." So I gave her money, and they went off to Pizza Hut. As she was leaving, she said, "You know what? Throw it all away." She goes, I don't want to save anything. Yeah, I'm like, I understand. And then, because the story broke my heart, and so they got in, they drove away, and I walked into the house. I walked into the kitchen, and I opened up some cupboards, and the very first thing I saw was of her, sorry, all of her Thanksgiving stuff. The turkeys and the candles and the orange and the little, pumpkin balls and, it was everything for Thanksgiving and platters for turkeys. And it was just, and all I could say was that, right now she doesn't have a reason for a Thanksgiving, but there will be a reason in the future. So let's go ahead. And so I got the team together. I said, look, guys, we save everything. We clean up everything, clean it up the best we can, put it on the lawn to dry. Let's get it all done. And so we just went in and just as much as we could. I mean, we did a lot. I mean, don't get me wrong. This team was amazing. I did nothing. This team was phenomenal. They cleaned, they wiped the windows, and I'm looking at the backyard, and it's like there's 40 guys carrying a back deck, a patio deck that had been on the house on our right side, and they were carrying it from the left side. It had moved down the house. It had moved down three houses, and so these guys are carrying this deck through all these backyards. And I mean, this is a full size freaking back patio deck, and you got like 40 guys carrying this thing through these people's backyards and then reattaching it to the house. I mean, that's what was going on, while we were in this house cleaning. When we walked outside, and I got to tell you, they call it an act of God, and it's not. Because the act of God is always what's going on during the disaster. Okay? Give you an example. 9/11. There was supposed to be about 75,000 people in that building during 9/11. But out of that 75,000 people, there was only 3,000 that showed up to work. Everybody else missed their train, overslept, couldn't find a ride, had a dentist appointment, couldn't find a sitter, had the sitter canceled, had saved the kid. I mean, over and over, and just literally 72,000 excuses why people couldn't come to work on that day. And remember, a lot of the people were firefighters who ran into the building when the buildings collapsed. So, I mean, when you think about it, there were supposed to be about 75,000 people in that building, only 3,000 died. And I don't mean only 3,000 because that's horrific. I mean, 3,000 is just terrible. But the firefighters and the passengers on the jet are included in those numbers. Okay. Once again, during the flood, how few people died was amazing. And what happened afterwards, if you guys can remember, if you guys can think about this, we came outside 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We were cleaning the house. She had come back and she just broke down. She said, "You saved it. You saved it all." And she just like, "Thank you so much." And she just started picking up her stuff, and it's like, it looks like it's brand new. And I'm like, oh, it doesn't look brand new to us. We've been working hard. But there's the, the streets were full of cars. And in the cars were grandmothers who had baked apple pies and had baked chicken and had fried chicken and had, Cub Scouts passing out water out the back of pickup trucks. I mean, it was just so, and people walking down with coolers. Hey, do you need a water? Do you need a Gatorade? Do you need napkins? Yeah, here's a package of paper towels. Hey, do you need us to haul your trash away? Do you need, and it was just, it was the hand of God, not the disaster. I'm sorry, I don't have Kleenex here. This is nasty. So, needless to say, the hand of God was not the disaster. The hand of God was that nobody died in the disaster, and that so few people died in the disaster, and that so many people turned out to help their neighbors. That is the hand of God. So, yeah, that took me a lot longer than I thought it was going to take. I'm at my 30-minute mark right now, and I have mucus. I just want to call it snot. I have snot running down my nose. I'm going to have to kill this picture for just a second. Now what I'm going to have to do is not show you my sleeve. Yeah, that happened. That just happened. I guess I should have done the whole we're having technical difficulties because I do have where is it right here? I do have a yeah, we have tech issues. Here it is. Yeah, no, it's not tech issues. It's well, we're not having problems here. Anyway, so let me play another song and then we'll call this a show. And this is a great song that if I can remember how to play it will be a blessing and a half. Is there a way I can get out of this? I guess there isn't. Okay. Well, we'll do the best we can. This one's called Blessed Assurance. And once again, if you need to find the lyrics, that's on nightmusic.com. And it's under the hymns section. This is an old hymn written by Fanny Crosby. And yeah, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you remember it. And if you don't, I hope you look it up and learn it. Because it's something, once again, in case of disasters, in case of floods, in case of fires, in case of anything that happens in your life, just have that assurance that Jesus loves you and he's not letting you go. Yep, he's going to hold on to you. And if you do go, it's because he's going to hold on to you. So there you go. Anyway, this is called Blessed Assurance. One more chance for sacraments. Anyway, thank you for watching the Underground Gospel shows or anything else. If you can sign up on our Patreon page, there's a link to Patreon. We're going to put, and this is really funny. If you're watching on the phone, I'll put up the little tip thing right now. But there's no way that you're going to be able to do a tip because let's face it, if you're watching this on a phone, you can't, take a picture of it while you're, watching it on the phone. So if you're at home watching this on a video monitor, you can send it to PayPal. Otherwise, you can. There is a link on our site for our Patreon page and our PayPal page. See if I have one here. I might have a banner that says something about it either. Nope, I don't. But it is so if you want to send thanks for performance, you can do it with the little PayPal code card. Let's see. Is there anything else I was going to say? You can send good if you're on PayPal, you can send it to I'll send this it's at guitarforjesus@musician.org. So that's Guitar for Jesus, Guitar for Jesus at musician.org. I don't know how I got that name. It's really cool though, and I'll take it. And I think that's it. So once again, if you can send me a cup of coffee, if you like what we're doing here, subscribe. and be a part of the community. If you don't, well, it's been great having you here. It has been great having you here, and I hope that my stories about the flood and about being interacting in floods, and it's not me, guys. I mean, I'm just telling you my stories because I was there. But the fact of the matter is, God uses every single one of us. We are all part of the tribe. We're all part of the community. We are all part of the hands and feet of the Lord. And so, just get out there and help and be part of a neighborhood and be part of a community. It was so great to just see buses of people being shipped out there. And then while we were there, just seeing carloads of people. And all they could do was bake chicken. And they brought us baked chicken. They brought us fried chicken. I'm a vegetarian, and they brought me water. They brought me Gatorade, and we worked so hard, and it was for such a good cause because people were hurting. And whenever people are hurting, it's just so good to get out there and help them and to love them and to work, and work for them. And like I said, live every day. If you live every day as if it's your last, one of these days you'll be right. So let's get out there. And Steve Jobs said he wanted to dent the universe. I don't want to dent the universe, but I want to make sure that God's kingdom is shown and seen in the universe. So hopefully you can join me in my little mission, my little mission of using the interwebs and using this silly little format that we have. COVID shut me down and I can't tour. So you know what I can do? I can still play every Friday and Saturday night on whatever channel you want to see me on, whether it's Facebook or YouTube or Twitch. You can download me. All my links are on my website. Let's put the website back up. Yeah, boom. And you can go to the website. Let's get rid of that. That just, it's, I feel so, I feel so much like, hey, you know, begging for money, and I'm not. I really, I just want you guys to be blessed by what I'm doing. So thank you so much for tuning in. And I guess it's time to run the ending credits and say goodbye. And we'll see you next Friday at 8 o'clock. So God bless you and have a wonderful, wonderful week.